So this week's topic is movies, and this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And while other people in the club might just talk about their favorite movies or movies that have special meaning to them, I'm going to talk about the whole aspect of movies because it's such a big part of my life. So I'm a film studies major at CU Boulder, which means I love every part of movies. And you know when people say, oh, I like all types of music, and it's always a lie because they don't love that random Middle Eastern stuff they've never heard, or that techno music, or screamo, or there's some type of music they don't like. Whereas for me, when it comes to movies, I love every single kind of movie. I love horror, I love random French love films, I love the really crappy teenage movies, because to me every single movie has something good about it, or else you wouldn't even be watching it. There are so many people involved in the project and putting their hard work into it, and even if it's one of those crappy like epic movies or scary movies or those movies that are just like mocking other movies, they're still good in some way, whether it be the editing, or the acting, or the writing, or the lighting, or the cinematography, or the framing. There's something about the movie that is good enough that someone is seeing it. So this weekend was Black Friday, and most people go Black Friday shopping for electronics, or clothing, or home appliances, but I go shopping for movies, because they're $2. I guess am one of those people who watches them online, or things like that. If I really like a movie, I'm gonna go out and buy it because I like to have that physical copy of the movie, and I like to support the artist in some sense because I know one day in the future I'm gonna be part of a project like that, and I'd love someone to support me, or to go to someone's house and say, oh my gosh, I totally wrote that movie, or I helped make that movie, or something like that. Okay, now I'm just gonna recommend some movies to you guys that you might not have heard of, or you might have heard of but never thought about watching. Okay, so the first one is The Music Man. And this is a musical movie from the generation when they did tons of musical movies, unlike today where everything's action-packed or like robots or special effects. But there was a remake of it with that guy from Inspector Gadget who's married to that really ugly girl from Sex and the City. And this is the classic. And so if you're gonna watch The Music Man, watch this one. And yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so this is Life is Beautiful, and I've talked about this before in my videos, and it's a foreign film from Italy, and it's about this man, well, this Jewish man and his wife, and how he ends up in a concentration camp with his son. And it's kind of a lighthearted movie about concentration camps, but it's beautiful. And watch it in the original Italian, don't watch it with the English dub. Watch it with the subtitles because it is much better that way. Okay, this is Iron Monkey, and this is another foreign film. I think it's in Chinese. And if you like martial arts films or just want a fun action film, this is a really great one to see. It's kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but a more action-packed version, and with less of a love story to it, I guess I'd say. But it's still a really good and interesting film. This is a really old film with Cary Grant, who I hope some of you have heard of. And I really like all of his films, but this was my favorite, and it's about this guy who like lives on an island for like the military, and then this teacher and her students get stuck on the island, and kind of just like wacky hijinks ensue, and trying to fix the boat and all that stuff. And it's funny and it's romantic, and I just really love old movies where all the guys had that kind of voice. I don't know why none of the guys nowadays have it except for like George Clooney. But yes, give this a watch. Okay, and this is Daybreakers, which came out like a year ago and no one saw it. And it was really good. And most people be like, oh, it was a really lame film, because it doesn't exactly have the Hollywood ending or the Hollywood story, but it's kind of a metaphor for the economy in America right now, but placed into a horror film genre with vampires and such. And I just really love the opening of this film and the narrative they use, instead of doing like voiceovers like 28 Days Later did, where they have like the this is what happened, this is what happened. It uses entirely in story narrative instead of voiceovers or subtitles or anything like that. And it's just got some really beautiful cinematography and framing and editing. And while the ending is pretty gory, it still is a really great film from an artistic and technical point of view. So give that a watch. And finally, even though this isn't technically a film, I'm just gonna say that miniseries, because I wouldn't really call them a TV show, should count. So this is Taken, and it's a Steven Spielberg miniseries about 3 generations of aliens and humans and interacting, and it's really beautiful, and it's sad, and it's happy, and it's action-packed, and it's just everything I could ever want in a miniseries, and I've probably seen it at least a dozen times. And while it took me like 3 years to track down this DVD set, I'm pretty sure most Blockbusters have it, or if you have Netflix, it should be pretty easy to track down. They're about 10 discs, I think. Yeah, I have no idea how many discs there are. Overall, it's about 15 hours long. So one of those that you should watch over a few days, but it's a really great miniseries. And it won the Emmy or Oscar for Best Miniseries. I forget which of those awards it got nominated in, but give it a watch. Yeah, so I hope I've given you some new ideas for films to watch and shown you how movies and films can be a pretty in-depth topic. So see you next week. I love movies so much. I have this poster, and I'm totally gonna put it in my college dorm.